Hello and welcome to this short video, How to Hug a Porcupine, Relationship Building with Lawmakers and Why It's Important. This program is part of the Congressional Management Foundation's Partnership for a More Perfect Union. We're proud the American Psychological Association is a partner in that effort, helping to build a better understanding, relationship, and communications between citizens and Congress. This presentation will have two parts. First, we'll look at the world according to John Q. Congressman. What is it like to be a member of Congress? Understanding members of Congress and how they think is an important part of building relationships with them. And then we'll go through the steps, how to build a relationship and why it's important to do so. This presentation is based on research conducted by the Congressional Management Foundation in focus groups we've done with staff members in the U.S. Congress. We've also taken surveys of congressional staff to identify what are the best ways to build relationships with lawmakers. And CMF also does individual consulting with member offices and is able to gain great insight into how members think and how they make decisions. So, what's it like to be a member of Congress? What is their workday like? What is their work ethic like? Well, it's a very hectic environment, and it got a lot more hectic about 10 to 15 years ago because the internet arrived. The internet changed the economics of advocacy. It no longer costed 25 cents to send a postcard to Capitol Hill. Now you could send messages for free. On a monthly basis, a House office can get more than 6,000 emails and letters. And this has come at a time when staffing levels haven't been increased. The last time the House of Representatives increased the number of permanent staff permitted in a congressional office was 1974. To put that in perspective, in 1974, Gerald Ford was president, The Godfather Part 2 was in the theaters, and gas cost 55 cents a gallon. But there's also been a positive effect because of email and the internet. Congressional staff members were surveyed by the Congressional Management Foundation, and we found that staff felt it made it easier for constituents to become involved in the policy process. It also made members of Congress and senators more accountable to constituents. But when asked whether the internet and email have increased constituents' understanding of what goes on in Washington, only 41% of congressional staff would agree with that statement. Now let's examine how members of Congress think. This is the brain of a member of Congress, and the first thing to appreciate about it is this part right here. The part that wants to make a difference in the world. Members of Congress are type A personalities. They run for public office because they want to improve the lives of their constituents in their district or state. But they also have a healthy ego. If they do not have one when they come to Washington, one is issued to them. Then they have this part of their brain that wants to please everyone. They're politicians. They want to say yes to everyone. One member of Congress said that members of Congress were just middle children still trying to please their father. Now, some of you may say that this brain is a little off, and that is correct. This is the brain of a freshman member of Congress. After they've been in office for some time, the ego takes over the larger part of the brain. You may also wonder, what is this little dot right here in the middle? Well, that's the amount of time that members spend thinking about your issues. Members have dozens and dozens of meetings and hearings each week when they're in Washington, and that's why it's important for citizen advocates to differentiate their message so it actually sticks inside the brain of a member of Congress. So how do you do that? How do you make your interactions with lawmakers stand out? How do you build relationships with lawmakers? And why is it important to do so? Well, we're going to go back to the survey that we referenced earlier that the Congressional Management Foundation conducted of congressional staff. We asked a whole series of questions of congressional staff designed to understand how to build relationships. But probably the most important question we asked was this one. If your member or senator has not already arrived at a firm decision on an issue, how much influence might the following advocacy strategies directed to the Washington office have on his or her decision? We listed a whole series of advocacy strategies individuals can engage in, and what we found is anything involving a constituent, such as an in-person meeting with constituents, 97% of the staff responding to our survey said that would have some or a lot of influence. 96% said contact from a constituent's representative. And individualized communications, either by postal mail or by email, were also very effective tools for influencing undecided lawmakers. Now, here's a question. Who has more power, constituents or lobbyists? Well, if you ask congressional staff who has a lot of influence, 46% of congressional staff said an in-person visit from a constituent would have a lot of influence compared to 8% who said a lobbyist. And the reason that this is lobbyists do play an important role as policy experts, but only constituents can explain the impact of a policy on constituents in the district or state. One lawmaker said it best when he said, "I have told paid lobbyists for years that any lobbyist worth his salt will concentrate on getting my constituents to tell me what they think, not what he thinks. He better spend his time getting them to write me because that's what I listen to." So what are they looking for in constituent communications? Well, we actually surveyed on that, and we found out that 48% of the staff said a personal story related to the bill or issue would be helpful or very helpful, the constituent's reasoning for supporting or opposing the bill or issue, and information about the impact the bill would have on the district or state. Said by one lawmaker, he said, "I use the 3 H's to make decisions." What are the 3 H's? Head, heart, and health, meaning political health. And what you see here in a quantitative version are the 3 H's. You see head, the reasoning. You see heart, the personal story. And you see health, information about the impact the bill would have on the district or state. Personal stories can be a very powerful way to communicate the impact of legislation. One lawmaker said, "I went to a luncheon that was hosted by cancer centers in my state. Instead of having those guys in white coats doing their lobbying, they brought in patients, kids, and their parents. They all got up and told their story. When it was done, there wasn't a dry eye in the room." Another important strategy is to build relationship with congressional staff. Do you want to get to know this senator? Absolutely. But it's equally important to get to know that staff member who has jurisdiction over your issue. It's also important to attend events back in the district, such as town hall meetings. Town hall meetings are valuable venues and opportunities to build relationships with lawmakers. One member of Congress said, "The best ideas I get for legislation come from town hall meetings." We also know attending local events are important based on the survey question that we asked, in your opinion, how important are the following for understanding constituent views and opinions? And we asked congressional staff a variety of ways that members of Congress can learn from their constituents. And what the survey respondents said was that attending events in the district, personalized messages, town hall meetings, these are very important or somewhat important to understanding constituent views and opinions. Also, 83% of the respondents said telephone town hall meetings are very important or somewhat important. We estimate that 3 out of 4 members of Congress are now using telephone town hall meetings to stay in touch with their constituents. And an important data point is this. The average telephone town hall meeting has 4,000 to 6,000 constituents participating. So when you participate and you ask a question in a telephone town hall meeting attended by a member of Congress, you're not just putting them on the record, you're putting them on the record with 5,000 of their constituents. Finally, a great way to get the attention of a lawmaker is to write a letter to the editor, but especially one that includes the legislator's name. The legislator will always see those letters to the editor, put in clip files by their staff on a daily basis, and it's always a great way to get their attention. Remember, your voice does make a difference, but you have to get involved in the process to make a difference. Said much better by Thomas Jefferson, "We in America do not have a government by the majority. We have a government by the majority who participate." Thank you for watching this video. It's part of the Congressional Management Foundation's Partnership for a More Perfect Union. If you'd like more information or more research on how to build effective relationships with lawmakers, please visit our website at congressfoundation.org. And remember, your voice makes a difference.